It was a quiet Sunday morning, February 22, 2026. No one imagined that the world's most wanted drug lord was hiding in a place like this, a small, picturesque mountain tourist town called Topolpa, Mexico. Cobblestone streets, tourist shops, and lush green mountains. But in the outskirts of this beautiful town, hidden within a cabin complex deep in the forests, was El Mencho, the man with a $5 million US bounty on his head. He was so secretive that the world had only a handful of photos of him, taken during his arrests back in the 1980s and 90s. No one knew what he looked like today. But on February 20th, Mexican intelligence got a massive lead. While tracking an associate of one of El Mencho's romantic partners, authorities realized that associate had taken the partner to a secluded rural property outside Topolpa, very hideout where El Mencho was staying. The partner left on February 21st, but El Mencho and his bodyguards remained. That's when Mexican forces saw the opportunity they'd been waiting for years. Before the darkness lifted on the morning of February 22nd, Mexico's special forces, National Guard, Air Force, and Army had the compound surrounded. To avoid raising suspicion, the mission was executed primarily with ground forces, with very limited helicopter use. As soldiers advanced, cartel gunmen opened fire. A heavy firefight erupted. Security forces took down 4 cartel members, but El Mencho with his bodyguards fled the compound into the nearby woods, heading for another wooden cabin complex. Security forces pursued. A second firefight broke out, and finally, soldiers captured El Mencho and 2 bodyguards, all severely wounded. He was airlifted to Mexico City but died on the way. A former D chief called this one of the most significant actions in the history of drug trafficking. But the story didn't end there. What happened after his death was something no one dreamed of. The death of a drug lord would soon plunge an entire country into chaos. But the question here is, who exactly was this man, El Mencho, and how did his cartel become so powerful? Back in 1992, police in California arrested a small-time drug dealer. He was dealing heroin, was sent to jail, and later deported. No one thought this man would become the world's most wanted drug lord 20 years later. Our story begins in 1966, in Michoacan, Mexico. His family grew avocados, and he dropped out of school in the 5th grade to help them. In 1980, chasing a better life, he moved to California. But instead of the great American dream, he found crime. In 1986, San Francisco police arrested him for possessing stolen property and a loaded gun. Officers suspected he was also a meth dealer. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison and was finally paroled and deported back to Mexico in January 1997. He was 30 years old. And this is where the story takes a huge twist. After returning to Mexico, El Mencho became a police officer. Yes, you heard that right. A convicted drug dealer became a cop. For a few years, he served on the force, learning the inner workings of the police. He understood how easily they could be bribed, which officers were corruptible, and where the holes in the system were. This knowledge would later become one of his most dangerous weapons. During this time, he married Rosalinda Valencia, a woman from a powerful cartel family. This marriage became his ticket into organized crime. He started as a bodyguard and hitman for the Valencia family's Milenio cartel. But by 2010, the cartel's leaders were either dead or in jail. Fast forward 5 years to May 1, 2015. The Mexican military launched Operation Jalisco to capture El Mencho using military helicopters, but CJNG had prior intelligence. Cartel gunmen were armed with RPG-27 rocket launchers and heavy machine guns. When the helicopters attacked, they shot one down with a rocket launcher. Of the 18 military personnel on board, only 9 survived, all seriously wounded. Think about that, a drug cartel shot down a military helicopter. The cartel was so powerful that they later set fire to dozens of buses, trucks, and gas stations across different areas of Mexico. The government had to deploy 10,000 troops to regain control. A federal investigator said no drug lord had challenged authorities so directly since Pablo Escobar. But how did CJNG become so powerful? CJNG wasn't a simple drug cartel. It operated like a paramilitary force. The D estimates that in 2019, at least 1/3 of all drugs entering the US by air and sea came from this one cartel. By 2018, they had over 100 meth labs across Mexico. And unlike cocaine, which depended on Colombian suppliers, meth could be made entirely in-house by importing chemicals from China. Some experts estimate CJNG's war chest was over $20 billion. They controlled the entire port of Manzanillo in Mexico. This was their single access point for importing raw materials from China to make meth. And this principle of a single access point is something I applied while building AI Fast. Many of you are already using AI Fast, but for those who don't know, AI Fast is a platform where you get 10 plus top AI models like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Grok, DeepSeek, Perplexity, and Llama, all in one place, one subscription, one interface. In the past few months, we've improved a lot faster speed, new features like memory, and the platform is more reliable. But the biggest update we just launched is Image Studio. It brings the world's top image generation is to one place. Imagine you need a professional photo, but you have no photographer and no camera. With Image Studio, you can do it in one click, just like this. You can generate hyper-realistic images with no watermarks. You can compare images from the world's top models side by side, from Google's Imagen and Veo to China's best model, Dream. You can have them all work together and select the image you like. Not only that, if you need to edit an image, we've added a built-in editor. Whether you need to remove a background, upscale an image, change the style, or add something, it's all possible in one place. To make things even easier, we've added templates. In one click, you can do a professional photo shoot, redecorate your room, or try on a new hairstyle. And your image data is never used for training. Your privacy is fully protected. Try it yourself. The link to AI Fast is in the description and pinned comment. And if you buy the annual plan, you'll get a huge discount through the same link. Don't wait. It's a limited time offer. And remember, this is just Image Studio version 1.0. We're going to make it even more powerful. As a teaser, next month we're adding agentic capabilities to AI Fast. For now, let's get back to the topic. But there was one product more dangerous than meth that built CJNG's future. A product so deadly that just 2 milligrams can kill a person. I'm talking about fentanyl. Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid, 50 times more powerful than heroin. Picture a few grains of sand on your palm. That tiny amount, just 2 milligrams, is enough to kill a person. And its economics are astonishing. It costs about 10 cents to make a fentanyl pill. That same pill sells for $10 to $30. A cartel's production cost of $500 can yield up to $20 million in revenue. The damage is equally staggering. In 2023, approximately 73,000 drug overdose deaths in the US were from synthetic opioids alone. Nearly 70% of those were caused by fentanyl. Even travel content creator Ananya Sood's death, as per US authorities, was from an accidental fentanyl overdose. You can imagine how serious this issue is. CJNG's role in the fentanyl crisis has been huge. In 2013, El Mencho's son, El Mencito, said he wanted to build a fentanyl empire. In September 2024, a US court found El Mencito guilty, and in March 2025, he was sentenced to life in prison. The son was in jail, but the father was still free, at least until the morning of February 22, 2026. After the operation I mentioned earlier, El Mencho died from his injuries. But as news of his death spread, CJNG unleashed hell across Mexico. A senior cartel leader, El Tali, ordered coordinated attacks, putting a bounty on every soldier, 2,000 pesos for each one killed. Think about that again. A cartel was placing bounties on its own country's army. Cartel gunmen simultaneously set fires in 20 different states. Vehicles were torched, highways were blocked, businesses were destroyed, over 250 roadblocks were set up, schools closed, flights were canceled. Mexico's second-largest city, Guadalajara, became a ghost town. Security analysts said this violent response showed signs of narco-terrorism, a scenario reminiscent of 1980s Colombia when Pablo Escobar declared war on the state. It seemed like all main CJNG commanders were united, attacking the Mexican state itself. So, what happens next? El Mencho's succession line is broken. His son is in a US jail. His wife was arrested in 2021 on money laundering charges. His 2 brothers are in Mexican prisons. A succession war could now erupt among the 4 remaining CJNG commanders. In the US, the Trump administration has designated cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And it didn't stop at declarations. In September 2025, the US military did something unprecedented. They started bombing alleged drug trafficking vessels in international waters. Under Operation Southern Spear, At least 150 people have been killed in 44 strikes. The US is dropping bombs on boats in the open sea without trial or proof. Human rights groups say this is illegal under international law, and many victims were civilian fishermen. On January 9, 2026, Trump said on Fox News that they would also conduct ground strikes on cartels. The US Defense Secretary has called cartels the Al-Qaeda of the Western Hemisphere. This is why Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum is under immense pressure to act. The killing of El Mencho is her government's biggest success. She needed to show that Mexico can fight cartels on its own, without needing US forces. But the real question is, after all this, will the drug cartels in Mexico finally end? History shows that every time a drug lord is removed in Mexico, two more emerge. The real solution is to address the root causes. As long as there is demand in the US, there will be supply from Mexico. As long as American guns cross the border, Mexican cartels will keep fighting. As long as cartels pay local police more than their monthly salary, corruption won't stop. And as long as raw materials for fentanyl and meth come from China, the supply chain won't break. This isn't just Mexico's problem or just America's problem. It's a shared crisis that needs a shared solution. In a few months, in June 2026, 4 FIFA World Cup matches are scheduled to be held in this very region of Mexico. The world's biggest sporting event will take place in the territory of the world's most dangerous cartel. This was the story of a drug lord who held an entire government in his pocket. But this doesn't just happen in Mexico. In America, there was a man who held some of the world's most powerful people, presidents, prime ministers, princes, billionaires, in his palm. His name was Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein's story is even more disturbing than a Mexican drug cartel's, because he did unjust commit crimes. He blackmailed an entire system. You can watch his full story in this video right here.